sorry, how do I pronounce your name? Is it CK?
Yes, yes, please.
Oh, hi, CK. You okay? Eh,
W- Okay, we are fine. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add a little bit of contribution with regards to the topic. I want to just to say to Raz, the people that are leaving Zimbabwe, most of them are not living by choice. Most of them is a political situation which has been created by the ZANU-PF in line with ANC. Some of the problems which we are having, ANC as a political party in South Africa, they have decided not to get too much involved into the situation that is happening in Zimbabwe because they look at ZANU-PF as a political sister in terms of their political, alignment. I once lived in South Africa myself, and I left South Africa in 2006. And the lady, Ugogo, engangihlala naye, told me that things were changing. She used to tell me all the time that I should move out of South Africa because one day the people are going to uprise and turn against foreigners. I was never an illegal immigrant, by the way. I was documented, and I moved my way to the United Kingdom, which I personally feel it was a very good move. With all the things I'm seeing today, people dying, people being killed, people being banned, and all this hatred you guys have against Zimbabweans is just a bizarre to me because when I was growing up as a child, during time, isikhathi somzabalazo lapho eSouth Africa, we used to see a lot of, especially in my school, that we had a lot of South African teachers who were at my school, who were like refugees, who had fled South Africa in waterfalls. I don't know if other Zimbabweans will tell. There's a suburb in Zimbabwe called Waterfalls. We had a lot of South Africans who were living there in waterfalls, and some of them, they are even still there today. So to tell us ukuthi thina we are like strangers to you guys, it's very, very bad. And it's not nice for you to say that because the only thing that separates us is that Limpopo River, which those borders were put by the whites anyway. So, to be honest, it's not very nice. When I'm in South Africa, I feel like I'm at home. Even if I'm visiting South Africa, I've got people who are very nice, who are very beautiful, who doesn't have a spirit of hatred, which I'm hearing from here. You guys, you are like another political party which we have here in England called UKIP that just hates foreigners. Everywhere you go, even here in England, some people think if there are problems or any economical problems, they are being caused by the foreigners. But that is not true. Foreigners, they contribute a lot in other people's economies. I can understand the issues of undocumented migrants, but there are reasons for people sometimes to live in that situations of being undocumented. Some people here in the UK, I've met South Africans who I know, I'm not going to mention them by name, true South Africans, not that they are fake South Africans, who have lived in the UK undocumented. And then later on, they managed to legalize their status, some even by marrying people or doing other issues. So this is a foreign issue when people travel around the world, or maybe
Oh,
they move from their place and go to other places. They face
sorry to cut you
issues.
off, brother Shingi. Sorry to cut you off. I need to ask you something there. You
Yes,
mentioned
okay.
about, you mentioned something to do with illegal immigrants in the UK and everything. My question to you is, what do you think should be done in South Africa? We see that there is an influx of undocumented Zimbabweans. Now, should South Africa just let the people just be roaming the streets undocumented like that? What is your solution to that? Or what are you suggesting?
That is a very complex scenario. That's why, ZK, I said it's a very political issue because people from Zimbabwe are not going to stop coming to South Africa, first of all. That is a fact. Unless if they are going to create that border, which they are going to create like a big wall, which Trump wanted to build in America for the Mexicans. Because Zimbabweans have become like Mexicans entering America, like the way the Mexicans enter America. That's the same thing with Zimbabwe, because as long there is political instability in Zimbabwe, South Africa is going to suffer. There is no way South Africa is going to run away from that. There's always
So,
going to be illegal migration, and there's also going to be legal migration. So as long from the upper root, if everything gets resolved in a political stance at an upper level, that's how this situation is going to be resolved. I don't think it's going to be resolved in the same. If they want, they can give amnesty to those that are there, but I cannot guarantee you, even if they give amnesty to those that are there, there will be still more coming. Because if the political situation is going to still be the same in Zimbabwe and ANC is doing dilly-dallying with ZANU-PF, there is nothing. This man was saying Zimbabweans, oh, that they've never done anything. Did he not hear the people that were shot by the soldiers in Zimbabwe? Were they not trying to do an uprising? There are disappearance. People do disappear in Zimbabwe. There is a lot of stuff that goes under there which is unreported world. When people are trying to rise, and it's not like people are just sitting idly. There are people who are trying to do things. You understand? But just to come up and say, oh, people are not doing anything, they are not making any move, they are not making any action, that is something wrong. So I
okay,
think in
thank you
my
so
own
much, brother
response.
Shingi.
Yes.
Thank you so
ZK, can
much,
I please
brother
just
Shingi. I am going to give you another chance later. I
No,
have a
thank
lot
you,
of
thank
people
you,
here waiting to contribute, okay?
thank you very much. Thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you, brother. You
Yeah.
can come out of the live stream so that I add other people. Tsepo, I'm going to open your mic.
Being a remote new hire is hard enough. Make it better with Pingboard.
Shingi, I'm going to remove you from the stream so that I add other people. Tsepo,
Hello, can you hear me?
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. I have a few points of contention with some of the things that I've heard in this discussion, and one of the biggest ones was this confusion of legal versus illegal. South Africans, for the most part, don't have a problem with legal foreigners. For the most part, we don't have a problem. The problem is the illegal people who cross our borders and disrespect our law. The moment you cross the border, that's it. You've already declared that you have no respect for the laws of this country. So why should these people in the borders of South Africa have any respect for you? And listen, I understand Zimbabwe is going through political turmoil and so forth. Okay, but that doesn't give you a right to go into another person's country and cause even more hardship. Over 50% of South Africans live under the poverty line. That's 30.5 million people. No one is talking about that. If we cannot help our own people first, what makes you think that we can accommodate you? Our own healthcare system is overcrowded. The Eastern Cape, schools don't have roofs. Right now, in the beginning of the year, there was a backlog of pupils who couldn't be admitted to schools because our infrastructure is not sufficient for our own indigenous population. So my question to all the people who are using these sentimental arguments, and I understand it's bad. This is the funny thing to me. You caused your own political collapse, and yet you look at the ANC in South Africa. It's like, I was sabotaging myself. Why didn't you help? Why didn't you stop me from sabotaging myself? That makes no sense. So my question to all of the people who are using these sentimental arguments that they are just economic migrants and so forth and so forth, my question is this: our own people are suffering. What exactly is it that you are expecting to get from the South African economy when 50% of our own people are living under the poverty line, and the government should cater to those people? And you get people who talk about how, oh, South Africans are not willing to do the low skill jobs and so forth and so forth. I come from Ekasi. That's a lie. South Africans have been domestic cleaners. We've been garden boys for centuries now. In what universe is a poor person, right, being offered 5,000 rands a month to do some menial low-skill labor job in Soshanguve, somewhere or Soweto? In what universe is that person going to go, well, I know I'm poor and there's nothing to eat tonight, but you know what? because I'm a South African and I'm lazy, I'm not going to do this job. That never happens. It's a narrative that a lot of people push, that South Africans don't want to do low skill jobs. No, we want to do low skill jobs. There's a reason why there's a push to get people who are foreigners out of the what is this, the low skill sector, in farming, in the hospitality industry, and so forth, because those kinds of jobs are supposed to be done by mainly South African youth who are either coming out of high school, getting experience in the workforce or whatever, or coming out of university or whatever. Those kinds of jobs should be reserved for the youth. So my question is this. Yeah.
Okay, ask your question.
Yes. What exactly is the expectation when you leave your own bad country and you come over here and make things worse when we cannot even provide for ourselves? What's the expectation there? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sepo. I'm going to remove you from the stream so that I add other people. We have limited number of people who can be there. Okay. Now, before we continue, guys, like for the past discussions that we've heard, we have listed a number of problems. Okay, South Africans have had a number of problems, and some people were thinking like we were not paying attention, but we were actually paying attention. I can tell you that I have a list of problems that were mentioned in our previous discussions. So tonight, we want to look at possible solutions. I'm just going to give you, just some of the problems that were mentioned so that I give you the heads up of what we are talking about. Okay. We have people who are talking about unemployment in South Africa with limited resources. The healthcare sector, is fatigued. We have the streets of South Africa, they're all infested with rubbish because of foreigners sleeping in the streets. The crime rate, drug issues, illegal occupation of buildings, increasing shanty towns or increasing the mukuku. The foreigners acquiring RDP houses, okay, meant for the South Africans. We also had people in situations of, the porous borders, corrupt police officials, corrupt immigration officials. We also talked about the issue of, someone talked about the issue of entitlement and disrespect coming from Zimbabweans, that they are not grateful. And someone saying, talking about Ubuntu. Okay, other people saying it's Ubuntu, but some people are saying people are hiding behind Ubuntu, in trying to stop the real problems that are there. So these are some of the problems that were mentioned, and I took note of them. So tonight we want to find possible solutions to these problems. So right now I'm going to open the mic for the talking Safa.
Hello, Zeki. I've
Hello,
been
you're
meaning to
welcome.
catch this live. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me in. I just want to say I caught this live like whilst people were already talking. So I'm only gonna speak on the stuff that I've heard so far and also
Mhm.
be able to give a little bit of my own mind in terms of giving possible solutions. But before I go in a little bit further, is I want to quote from Robert Mugabe from one of his old interviews that he has done in relation to South Africa and South African affairs and Zimbabwe, how Zimbabwe is connected, or rather how they are connected together. And he
Yes.
says, and I post, and I'm going to paraphrase because it was quite an interview. He said, we cannot avoid South Africa because it is a geographical reality. A policy of coexistence is the best we can do. Our view, meaning the Zimbabwean view, because he was the Zimbabwean president at the time, our view is that South Africa should avoid interfering in our affairs, meaning Zimbabwean affairs,
Mm-hmm.
and so should we, meaning vice versa. We will support opponents of apartheid only politically and diplomatically and the international forums. But it is not our duty to take up arms against South Africa. That is the right and the obligation of the South African people to correct their own grievances, their own way. We can only
Hmm.
assist by giving them political and in diplomatic matters, right? Why I'm quoting this? Because he made some very, very important points here. He said that to solve South Africans' problems, because South Africa was facing that at the time, it is up to the people of South Africa, because he understood that South Africa is a sovereign country with its own people, with its own culture and its own way of dealing with things. And he understands that Zimbabweans are the same, right? Not to say that we cannot talk about each other's issues or we cannot assist where we are, where we can, but we must not mingle to a point where we try to dictate and allude to the other country how they should solve their problems, right?
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
say all of this to say, in my own view, South Africa does not have a problem with foreigners. I think that's where everything stems from. Because now we've been put into this blanket thing that South Africans do not want uh, foreigners. South Africans do not have a problem with foreigners. We understand that there are documented foreigners, there are highly skilled workers that are working in South Africa. And unfortunately, this whole thing that is happening right now is tarnishing the good reputation of very skilled Zimbabweans that we have in the country. Not only Zimbabweans, but other nations as well. It's tarnishing them, and they are being put into the same blanket and being caught in the crossfire, right?
Hmm.
Now, the issue here is the influx of illegal migrants. Now, you might ask yourself, illegal migrants, who feels this the most? The people that feel the influx of illegal migrants the most are people that live in Ekasi, Elokshin, the people that cannot get access to um, low income jobs, for example, because what illegal foreigners would do then is to come in and accept the lower income and accept being exploited, thus making it hard for people, natives, and driving that market to accept the lower wages. And I don't think that it is fair for that to happen even to South Africans in South Africa. And I would say the same thing would happen if it was Zimbabwe that was in this very same situation. Zimbabweans would find themselves complaining about the same thing. So let's be real. Now, another thing is, if we were to look at our countries and where we stand economically, I love the idea, and I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit long. I love the idea of Pan-Africanism. It is a beautiful dream. It is one thing that we can all strive for, but it becomes a pipe dream if all of our states or all of our countries in South Africa are not matched economically. So that means in some of the in some of the points that you have raised about the root causes, like the healthcare sector and the crime rates and corruption and all of these things, if the countries, for example, I'm going to mention Zimbabwe right now, if Zimbabwe can handle its own internal issues and invest in its own healthcare system, crime, corruption, and investing it in its own infrastructure, then we can be able to talk and be able to freely trade between these two countries. And we can be able to talk about the idea of Pan-Africanism and be able to move freely between these countries. This goes the same to all of the countries that are in Africa, right? But the reality is that all of these other states are unmatched economically. So therefore, it puts a heavy burden on one country. And that is not fair. That is not fair. And another thing is that if people of South Africa are crying about a situation, the people that feel it the most are crying about a certain situation, and no one is taking them into consideration and their grievances and trying to solve the problems that South Africans are saying they are facing in South Africa. Trust and believe that South Africans will sort out that all their own problems themselves. It runs in our blood. We are like that. It has always been like that. Whenever we feel that our government is not listening to us, what did we do? We took to the streets. That's what our fathers did. That's what our great uncles did. So why is it now a new phenomena that now we can sit in these screens and talk about it like this and act as if this is new? Now, I'm not saying that, oh, illegal migrants should be killed, or so and so and so many bad things should happen. That is not okay. That is crime. That's not what we're talking about right now. But let's
Thank you,
deal with
Jean.
the fact that there
Sorry,
are
sis.
illegal
Okay,
migrants.
sorry, sis, to cut you short. I am going to, you can hold on to the point that you want to say so that I give, Sebastian has been holding on for a long time. They want to
Yeah,
respond to some of the things that you talked about right now.
thank you very
Okay,
much.
okay.